So Yama Malia, Nganda Duni Gaba Gulbiai, Ngaya Bronwyn Cochrane, Gunima Ngay, Gunima Gamilaroi Nu. So what I said there was, hello friends, good afternoon and welcome. My name is Bronwyn Cochrane and I belong to my motherland, the Gamilaroi motherland. And as always, before we embark on this educational journey, as we sit around this digital campfire that exists in this space right now, let us acknowledge First Nations peoples and take a moment to pay our respect to the First Nations people upon whose land we are gathering, connecting and learning. We acknowledge the deep wisdom, ancient cultures and custodianship that have flourished across these diverse landscapes for over 65,000 years. So I'd like to extend our heartfelt respect to the ancestors and spirits who've cared for this land since the beginning of time. The echoes of their wisdom and stories resonate in the wind. We pay homage to the deep connections between culture, skies, and waterways. We honour our elders past, present, and to those who are emerging as stewards of this land, whose connection to country enriches our understanding of the world around us. I'd also like to pay respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander brothers or sisters, aunties and uncles who are joining us today. The leaves, roots and blossoms of our plants tell tales of ancient as the landscape enduring embrace. Speaking of connections nurtured through countless seasons. Just as our ancestors read the stars to navigate their way, we also read the land to find our nutrition. The relationship between land and sky provides us with the knowledge of when certain things are ready to collect and eat. We acknowledge this sacred interplay between land, plants, and our existence, holding it close to our hearts as we gather here today. So I'm really super excited to celebrate National Science Week and to welcome you all to this webinar, the theme being First Nations Bush Tukka and Knowledges. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Bronwyn, but please call me Bonnie because we're all friends on here. I have been in education for over 25 years, primary trained, but have worked across all sectors from preschool, primary, up to secondary. I'm the founder and executive director of TIPIAC, which is a 100% owned and run Aboriginal business that helps educators embed authentically rich First Nations perspectives across all key learning areas within the curriculum. And for many years, I've been so passionate about nurturing a deep understanding and appreciation for our First Nation knowledges, histories, and cultures. I'm also so passionate about helping educators feel safe and confident when embedding authentically rich and diverse First Nations knowledges into their classrooms. So now as we gather around this sacred digital campfire, or this digital yarning circle, if you like, where the sharing of knowledge becomes a nurturing of spirit. It is a great honour to introduce Bruce Phillips Morgan, a proud Batjala man and the visionary behind Murri Tukka. So Murri Tukka is also an Aboriginal owned and operated business in Queensland, and he is very passionate about sharing his knowledge when it comes to cultural knowledge around Bush Tukka. Our land, the leaves, roots and blossoms of plants have told us stories for millennia, interwoven with the landscape they grace. They carry the whispers of countries, timeless embrace, a connection that has been cherished and tended across many, many seasons. These interplay between land, plants, intricate. Get it right. So the intricate interplay between land, plants, and our very being is a sacred dance that we hold close to our hearts. And I just want to welcome you all and thank you, Bruce, for joining us today. I'm looking forward to this yarn and learning. So thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, you're welcome. Bonnie. Thank you, Bonnie. We've disappeared again.
Oh no, you're right on. I can see you anyway.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Righto. Are we good to go?
We are.
We're good.
So do you want to just give a bit of a background of who you are and where you're at, whose country you're sitting on?
Do my little introduction. Batjala Bagani Gurri, Burum, Gorowinga, Munabula, Wapple, Murri Ingalango, Tundabari, Gabi, Jan Nagibir. So what I've said to you is good evening, everyone. My name is Gulai. Gulai is my traditional name, which means white cypress tree, one of the totems I was given many, many years ago. The other totem that we've got for our tribe, the Batjala tribe, is directly behind me. So that's the dolphin, or Yulu. So that's our Batjala totem, and we do have more, but I won't get into that. We've got a lot to get through today. And I've also said to you, my grandmother's country is, she's a Batjala woman, and her country, because we take our female lineage for our way, and so that's how I'm Batjala, even though I've got also the Gubbi connection. So I'm an Aldrich Blackman descendant. Through Jesse Aldrich, I'm Batjala, and our tribal lands are Gurri, and you should all know where Gurri is. So Gurri was formerly known as Fraser Island, and before that, it was formerly known as Gurri, and now it's rightfully back to its proper name. So back to Gurri, or paradise. So our tribal lands are Gurri. What did I say? Burum, so Burrum Heads, Gorowinga, the Great Sandy Strait, and Harvey Bay, and all those waters there. Beautiful country, beautiful waters. And so we have tribal custodianship over water as well as land. For people who didn't know about that, the seas are part of our come under our protection now and our caring. And we've also got Munambula, so that's the Murri River and Maryborough, that country there, and Wapple, so that is Mount Wapple, place of the frill-necked lizard, and Uluru, just north of Noosa, so Rainbow Beach. So that's all my grandmother's country, and on the grandfather's side, the Alfred Blackman side, that is from South Rainbow Beach all the way down to the North Pine River. Some people within Gubbi say it ends Caboolture River, but my elders have told me the North Pine River, and I'm going with that. And so yeah, that's a big mob of land there, and a lot of country, and a lot of beautiful plants that we utilise for thousands of years, and we still do. And I also paid my respects and acknowledged the Jundabari mob and Gubbi mob, and the elders past and present. And Jundabari country is on Yarrun, which is Bribie Island. So Jundabari is part of the Gubbi mob. And yes, and Batjala people have been coming here for thousands of years too, like through trade and other ceremonial activities. So yeah, so I've got a strong connection with this land here too. So it's a pleasure to live and work here and travel all over southeast Queensland with my business, Murri Tukka. I don't know if you can see the logo there, Murri Tukka. You can find me on Facebook. Facebook is my only form of advertising. So I just post pretty pictures of the work I do, of all the beautiful bush tucker that I harvest myself. So where's the, oh, look at that. Yeah, so I wild harvest all the foods that I go around to kindies, primary schools, secondary schools, universities, and corporate workshops all over southeast Queensland. So basically from Bundy Ways down to the border out to Toowoomba Way, so I encompass that whole area there. I got asked the other night to go to England, but I don't know if that'll be, the fruit would last that long, and whether I'd get it overseas. So I'll have to pass on that. We'll have to Zoom that one too. So um, thank you all for being here tonight with us. I hope you enjoy the journey we're about to go on, and I wish you could experience this in real life, and smell the beautiful aromas, and touch the different textures of the plants, and all the fruits, and just experience firsthand what these lucky little gundus or gundus, children or jarjum, get to experience every day. Some of this stuff is very, very rare. Like you can't get it in Woolworths or Aldi or wherever at your local fruit barn. And some of the stuff, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for these children and people in workplaces. So it's a pleasure to be able to get out there and provide this and show people and teach people about what's sustained and made Murris and Nongars, etc., all over the country thrive for thousands and thousands of years. So just looking at the first photo we've got up, I hope you can all see it. So we've got one of our clistamens here. So I'm horticulturally trained as well. So I've been studying plants for, seems like forever, because I'm not getting any younger. I'm 50 soon. So yeah, it's been a good 30 years or so, but I have learned a lot over the years from a lot of different mob and elders, and so it's not all just from literature and books and that sort of thing, and a lot of it too is self-taught and guidance from ancestors. You get that gut feeling when I'm walking country every day. Um, you just you just you follow your intuition, and you're guided by spirit. And I feel that strongly every day, getting out there and, yeah, being in touch with everything that's interconnected on Dagun or Jar or Jana. So that's land, country. So yeah, being out there and listening to the birds, watching the birds, watching the insects, just listening to the wind, and just being, slowing right down and being very, very observant of everything around you. Because if you're going too fast, I take a lot of people on walks out there. We do a Murri Tukka walk and talk, and people are way too fast. They're generating their feet are too fast for their eyes, and they're taken off, and they miss a lot of things, very important cultural teachings, and yeah, some valuable lessons that need to be experienced. And if you slow it right down, and look, I'm guilty of it in the past, just rushing through life, but I think we all, with this sort of modern day society, we rush through life, and these busy schedules we've got, and we miss a lot, and we're not present in the moment to experience what's beautiful out there and how we can enrich our lives. So yeah, I get a bit lost in my thoughts at times. So Bonnie says, if you've got to pull me up and steer me back in the right direction, please do.
Yep.
But yeah, the first one we got here was, we got one of them callistemons. So a beautiful red flowering bottle brush. So the nectar of that, when I pick those,
Have I frozen?
cultural education hall. So I'm doing a 20-minute presentation there every day at 2 p.m. And so people get to experience this. So these are photos from some of my most recent presentations. So when I pick these flowers, I try not to pick too many because I want to be sustainable. This is just more so a visual for people, or I'll pick grevilleas or something like that, honey gem grevilleas. But we get nectar from this flower here, and it is so sweet. When I was cutting these off, I had nectar drooping down my hands and just had to, I couldn't resist. I had to lick it off and just enjoy that beautiful, beautiful sweet honey. Most beautiful sweetness you'll get out of there. Better than that sugar cane from them farms, and a lot healthier too. So we have a lot of beautiful, healthy products out there that should be, I don't know, embraced before we getting into all these toxic ones that we're accustomed to, I suppose. Yeah, and that's what I love about what I do too. Going into the kindies, there's a lot of the children. There seems to be a lot of behavioural or conditions, or what do they call it? Spectrums and all these things that we really weren't aware of when I was younger. Yeah, and I think a lot has to do with the foods that are being consumed these days. Stuff loaded with preservatives, sugars, and too much salt, and just the poisons that we seem to consume. And yeah, you do your research, and you look at what's say in there's some the pesticides and herbicides that are tainting all the foods, and like even someone sent me a link about I think it was McDonald's chips. They're basically poison. There's some chemical on that. I can't remember the exact one. And we're just shoveling that into our mouths. And we really don't know what we're putting into our body. But when I go out there and I can get all these foods, I know exactly what goodness is going into us. And you'll find too, a lot of our foods, and other people have said this to me too, and I thoroughly agree with it. Our foods are like very, very small. Like you look at that Kakadu plum up north in that country up that way, Territory, North Queensland. It's very, very small fruit, but the potency of vitamin C, apparently the highest content in the world. So yeah, we got power-packed fruits and vegetables out there, just full of nutrition and the goodness, and all this genetic modification of plants that's out there, and the scaling down of the species of a particular genus or whatever. They're favouring, say, I don't know, two or three. Well, look at apples. Apples, like in that way, like what you get at the shops. There's hundreds and hundreds of varieties of apples, but what do we get access to? Only a few. And the genetic sort of gene pool of all those fruits is limited, and we're missing out on all this nutrition. In the old days, like with Murri's, because we're walking country all the time, the amount of food that I see out there in the bush, like the different types of foods that we eat on a daily basis, whatever's in season, and we're getting them at the right times of the year when our bodies need it too, whether it be like a cold season or whatever, like those nutritional. But you look at all these fruits, they're importing them from overseas. All times of the year. So you're getting the basic stuff day in, day out, 365 days a year, whether it's grown here or not. But yeah, I look at our foods.
So this one that's on the screen, sorry to interrupt, but this one,
you're right.
can you tell us a little bit about the one that's on the screen?
Yeah. So that one there, like it's jam-packed full of that beautiful honey-flavoured nectar. And yeah, so you can flavour your water with that. Just take the edge off, like just you're sick of just drinking straight water. But that one there is the bottle brush callistemon, and like I said earlier, I was dripping down my arms with all that beautiful nectar. So yeah, what's our next one anyway? That one, like, we got another picture.
Mm-hmm.
That was just one of the beautiful wildflowers in season at the moment. That was just a bit of
And so,
garnish for the table.
and so even for you know, when you're talking about knowing when to pick certain fruits or knowing when to go out on country and collect these foods, it's because over many generations that we observe our seasons and the wildlife patterns. So it's really
Definitely.
understanding the ecosystem and the health that it's in, so that we know that yes, we can go and collect this specific fruit at a time that it's ready to be picked. We don't just go out and just take it, you know, when it's not meant for us to actually take it.
No, exactly. And there's a fair few examples of that. And a couple I can think of right now is when the wattle is in flower, and it's a common one that a lot of people know. So the black wattle and the Brisbane wattle, when that one's in flower, it indicates that the gabunya or the mullet is coming into season to go and spawn and lay their eggs and reproduce and all that sort of thing. So they're travelling up the coast. A lot of coastal mob have got this very similar stories of when it can be sustainably fished or hunted. So with us, with Batjala, we're waiting for Wurruma. Wurruma is the sea eagle up there. And so this is law too. We can't just go in, like, as soon as there's any first indication of that fish, that gabunya, that mullet coming in, and just as soon as we see it, just start fishing for it and netting it. We've got to wait for Wurruma to allow the fish to feel comfortable, come through, go up into those creek systems and start. Because if we go in and scare that fish away, what they're going to do, that first lot of fish, they're going to turn around and we'll spook them. And what they do is they bypass that area for 3 years. So Wurruma is too smart for that. He just waits and waits and waits, and then he pounces or swoops down when it's time. And that's what Murri's been watching for the longest time, watching for Wurruma to get that first feed of gabunya. And then we know it's okay for us to go and fish for that one now. And another one is
So just going back to this image here, we've had a couple of questions on how do you get the nectar.
Oh, right. Yeah. So normally what I would like to do, because I've cut it off for the people, like at the echo, just so they could see it. But a good way is, well, I love to leave all the blossoms and flowers on the trees. And basically you can just go straight up to that flower and just liquid suck that nectar out of that flower, or you can, I don't know if you can see me, just tap it on your hand gently, and all that nectar will just fall into your hands, into your palm, and you just lick it that way. Or you can just put it in a cup of water, a bowl of water, and that'll flavour that water. So they're simple ways to access that nectar.
And so
I like to leave it there because the flowers, because I wanted to produce more nectar so that the birds and the insects, they're getting their feed as well. I don't want to be taking it all. I'm very mindful of that. And when I do harvest, I only go to a certain height with a lot of bush tucker trees, because I don't want to be climbing trees and like just taking as much as I can. I'm not about that. I need to leave as much there for all the birds and what's his name? I've forgotten his name, but the flying fox, Gurman. No, which one? No, Gurman's a kangaroo. It'll come to me. starts with a K as well. But anyway, yeah. So the flying fox, they got to have their feed too, and people whinge and carry on about the flying fox and being no good, and it's their country.
Mm.
They need that feed, and yeah. So I'll get to a certain limit, and yeah, I'm just mindful of that. And when I'm harvesting other things, there's stuff out there that crows love to eat. One called Bidgel. Bidgel is the pig face fruit, and I watched. I just sat and watched. Sometimes it's just good to sit and watch and observe what's going on out there. And that crow or wah or wagga, but just watching him, and he's going in there, going for all the pig face fruit. We might have pictures of that later, and he's pecking the sides out of it. And when I'm going through harvesting, I see all these ones all hollowed out because he's got in and got the beautiful sweet kiwi fruit flavoured fruit out of the fruit there, and that was like really really good for me to witness that. And I've also noticed, because it's winter at the moment, we've had hardly any rain. Um, Wallabies have been feeding on the pig-faced leaves because it's got a very, very high water content. And there's not a lot of water in the creeks. And so they'll supplement their water intake by eating those leaves. They're also eating the pig-faced fruit. So I'm mindful of that, that I'm not taking too much. So we've just got to look after them because they need it more than us.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. And just a question from Caroline, what variety of Calismon is that?
Good question. I'm going to have to look that up. Sorry, I can't answer you there, Caroline.
So let's...
Oh, we've got ruby saltbush there.
Ruby saltbush.
Ruby saltbush, they're a beautiful little plant. I've got that one growing in my backyard. I've just got it in a pot. Its distribution is like all over Australia, basically. Like it covers a lot of country. And it's like a little a ground cover, but I grow it up a trellis, like a tomato trellis, just to make it easier harvesting. So it gets those little berries. They're only, I don't know, 3 to 4 mil wide, and they're a beautiful, sweet and salty berry. And that sort of pop in your mouth. You want them to be dark red, really dark red flavour that becomes sweeter that way. A lot of our fruit, the darker it gets in colour, the sweeter it becomes. So like a lot of like a banana, you wait for it to get darker and yeah, it's sweeter. But that one there, the leaves are edible too. So which have a nice green bean sort of flavour. And you can blanch that. So just cook it up in the water and yeah, very, very easy to do. So eat that as a healthy green and just nibble on those little berries. There's lots of recipes too online how people can utilise these fruits if they're growing them in their backyard. So,
or in their school garden.
Yeah, exactly.
How amazing would that be to have all of these, native plants and bush tucker growing in a school garden or yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's a very, very easy one to grow and doesn't take up a lot of room. And pretty much once you get this plant here, it just lasts forever, and ever, and just pumps out a lot of fruits, almost year round.
Yeah. So where do you get your, if you're growing them in your backyard, where do you actually get them from?
Well, a lot of land care nurseries. In Brisbane, when I travel down that way, there's one called Cambacho Nursery, which is run by the, pretty sure it's the Moreton Bay Regional Council. I think they operate that, and there's a lot of volunteers that do all the nursery work. It used to be the Bunya Park Zoo many years ago, so I think it's Edens Hill, the location of that one. So Cambacho, so Kumbartcho, Cambacho Nursery. It's a beautiful location, and They have a lot of food and medicine plants there, and also a really, really good range, very reasonable prices. A lot of their tube stock will only be roughly about $1.60 to $2, and then prices go up to, I don't know, $25 for fairly well advanced plants. And yeah, it's well worth it to locate your local land care nursery, and you'll get a much wider variety, and plants are possibly more endemic or local to your local area, and that's what they'll focus on trying to promote, putting the plants in the ground, back in the ground from that country where you live. So yeah, so where are they? They're on Yagara Turrbal country. So but
There's
what I
a
found, yeah, go on.
there's a place in Sydney as well, like that's run by like it's an
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Aboriginal nursery, and I did
Yep.
see a post that you'd actually put up around because you got a tree because they send out a lot of their plants in the mail. Yeah, because I saw that you got one imported or not imported.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sent
yeah.
to
I
you.
can tell you a little bit about that. And that was in
And did you grow that?
Indigrow
Yeah,
Nursery or something like that.
yeah,
Look up Indigrow. They're based in Sydney.
yeah.
They've got a very, very good range of plants. You find them on Facebook, and they're continually educating people all about our native edibles and medicines. And currently, they're talking about 5 corners. Um, I just can't think of the botanical name. Starts with ST, but the one I got anyway, that one, the 5 corners, got a very sweet fruit. So they apparently, the last post that I saw, and it's a hard plant to get. So they had 20 left in stock. So if you look them up, you might be able to find that. There's that actually growing locally where I live. So I haven't found it out in the bush yet, but I found it in one of our local we've got the Jundaburri Walk, which a lot of local community, Murri community and Jundaburri mob and the local Bribie Island preschool, they've all come together, and whoever else, other organisation, couple of other organisations, I think, Peace and possibly Beeper, have come together and created this beautiful Bush Tucker trail, and yeah, so that one there, it's 5 corners is located there. But anyway, the other one that we were talking about there, Bonnie, is we call it mulgalang. Mulgalang is the native raspberry. So so the native raspberry, and what I got, and what's so special about this one, someone found a thornless variety out bush, and what they've done, they've propagated that one and mass produced all these thornless variety of the native raspberry.
Yes.
And if you've ever tried to harvest the native raspberry from the ones with the thorns, you really get scratched to pieces, like a cat's gone. You're trying to give a cat a bath or something, like it goes feral on you. So so this thornless variety, I was really excited to get that. Bought myself a few plants, and I'll just grow that in my backyard, and I'll try some in pots and some in the ground, and yeah. So that's one that you can try and source from that Indigrow nursery. I'm sure they'll be happy to get some more business. You'll be supporting a First Nations business, which is deadly, and that they employ a fair few crews there, eh?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of young
They do
ones.
like traineeships because it's
Yes.
like on a school ground.
Right, yeah.
Like it's or started like at a school in Sydney,
Yep.
and what they've done is they work with the local schools, and then especially the secondary, they get them in, and the kids can actually come in and like learn about the plants as well as they're helping out, which is
Yeah, no, how deadly
wonderful
is
because
that?
that's giving back to community. It's just a really amazing setup that they've got.
And I see that they've been helping out with the Bush Tucker Gardens at the local schools there too.
Yeah, yeah. And so what was this one called again? The berry
That was the ruby saltbush, like ruby, like the gem, saltbush. So it's sweet and salty, pops in your mouth, and people make jellies and drinks and all sorts of things out of that. I'm not a chef or anything. I'm just a home cook. I just muck around with some flavors. Like this one here, it's not what you think it is. It's actually lemon myrtle tea, like an iced tea, and just some honey. So you notice I got a bit of a husky voice here. So yeah, I just need to and it's such good medicine. This has got like 20 different medicinal properties, and I can't think of them all right now, but it's antibacterial, any fungal, any inflammatory. It's really powerful medicine. And the more and more I drink of this, because I've been yarning so much lately, voice gets a little bit tired, and this sort of helps me, yeah, get back to my normal voice. And really good. Like if you've got a cold or something like that, now, that lemon myrtle, it's a rainforest tree. It gets about 30 metres tall, but you can keep it compact. You can manipulate the growth of any plant that you have in your garden there. You just get your edge trimmers out or shears and utilise those leaves, and beautiful oil content, very aromatic. And what's in that, it will, when it comes to the anti-inflammatory side and that blocked and runny nose, 1 or 2 cups of that or a warm cup of tea, you'll be clear again and you'll be able to breathe. That's the power of this medicine. It's absolutely amazing how good it is. And yeah, every time I've got a cold or something like that, that's my go-to. I'd rather have this than the antihistamines from the chemist. So, but yeah, so simple things you can do at home. And that lemon myrtle, oh, what do we got here? We've got the native tamarins.
Native tamarins?
Tamarins, yeah. So that comes from the small-leaved tamarins. So that's the Diploglottis, Campbellii, Diploglottis. So that one there, it's a rare rainforest tree. How tall does he get? About, I don't know, 10 to 12 metres, I think. Now, it's very rare in its natural sort of habitat due to land clearance and all the other impacts that colonisation, I suppose, has had on this country. And the good thing about this fruit, I seem to get a lot of this every single year, around about Christmas time. So what are we now? Usually August, so September, October. It'll be coming into flower very shortly. And by November, December, Christmas time, it'll be in full swing with its fruit.
And so what does it taste like?
It tastes like sour capsicums.
Oh, sour capsicums.
So it's a bit mind-boggling. A lot of our fruits, you look at it and think that'll taste, I don't know, you might think Brazilian cherry or something, or you think it's like a tomato or whatever. But yeah, it's like a sour bomb lolly, I tell the kids, and or a warhead. And yeah, so this one, but it's got that capsicum background flavour. And it took me a long time to like capsicum. I used to hate it when I was a child. I would never eat it. I'd gag and I just couldn't eat it. But now I love capsicum and I love this one. And where I harvest this one from, it's in a what do you call it? A council parkland. So we're so lucky that the councils and land care groups, they're acknowledging, okay, we've got a rare species of plant here. Let's revive this beautiful plant and get it back into on our lands. Where this is growing, I'm not going to disclose where that is because.
So here's a question from
Yeah, go on.
Craig. He asks, what would you suggest for schools that are starting bush tucker gardens for something like, short term that will grow quickly so that they can harvest the fruits?
Righto. That ruby saltbush that we spoke about before, I don't know if Craig's been on from the start, but that ruby saltbush is a very fast grower, and yeah, it's a really good one. And for little hands and fingers, it's really good for them to harvest and good for their dexterity and all that sort of thing, and their hand-eye coordination. Um, Fast grower, fruits nearly all year round. Those two that are pictured right there will take many, many years to produce fruit. On the left, my left here, I see the yellow one. It's called Gurry apple. Used to be commonly known as Fraser Island apple. It's or coastal Acronychia, coastal aspen. So obviously, be coastal in its name. It grows by the beach, and it's very similar to a lemon aspen, and it's got a beautiful cross between a lemon and Granny Smith green apple flavour. And when they're fresh, the flavour changes from depending on the colour. So the lighter the yellow, the more sour they are, and more so like a green apple. And the darker they go, they become a lot sweeter. Like if you let them go orange in colour. So you're bound to get a nice surprise at every stage of ripening there. But that one takes many years to produce fruit, as does the Burdekin plum, who's next to him. So the Burdekin plum, he's got the most beautiful, sweetest flavour. Um, yeah, and it's a very large tree too. There's a couple of different types of, I can never say them, it's plagas something, Plagaranium or something like that. It's always been a tongue twister for me. I've just had to read it. But that's the genus, and the species is Timorens. It's a lot easier to say, but yeah, wide distribution for that one. Large tree, slow to get going. A few years before you're going to get fruit. What other pictures have we got there, Bonnie? Oh, there's pig face, so we call that one vigil. That's the one I was talking about earlier. So those leaves there, the arrow on, you can actually harvest that all year round. Because those leaves, fresh, they taste like green beans, salty green beans. Use them fresh in a salad. You can use them in stocks. You can pickle those. So if you've got home ec or whatever, they still call it home ec. Or even just your kindy cooking, just mucking around. You can use that one. Or if you're doing a soup or a stock, instead of adding salt, you could use this salty element from our salty leaves. And just to the right of that, we've got the native spinach. So warrigal greens or New Zealand spinach is a common name, Botany Bay greens, or Botany Bay spinach. So that one there, you only harvest the leaves, you don't eat the stems. So the younger leaves, you can eat those raw. Now that one contains, what do they call it? The oxalates, oxalic acid. So that one will give you kidney stones if eaten in large quantities. You consume that one, large quantities. What we need to do, we need to blanch that one. So this is where your sort of science comes into it. So like on our skin, you know, all the pores on your skin, and we call them pores, but on a leaf surface, on the lamina or the leaf surface of the skin, we've got the stomata. Now the stomata are like the pores. So what we've got to do, because it contains all the oxalates, we chuck it in that boiling water, we bring the water to a boil, and we just simmer it up, not simmer it, what's the word, blanch, boil it up for about 30 seconds to a minute. And then after that, take it off the boil and just put it into what do you call it, colander sieve, and just rinse it under the cold water and wash away all those oxalates. And I like to do it a couple of times, squeeze it all out, and just really give it a good rinse. If you don't do that, you're going to have a metallic taste in your mouth, and it's really horrible on your teeth. And it tastes a lot like what do they call it? It's not spinach, silver beet. And like if you've had silver beet as a youngster, I don't know if a lot of people eat it these days, but that silver beet, it's yeah, really metallic flavoured. And it's not the greatest to eat in my mind. So yeah, you give that one a good treat it properly, and you get a beautiful green bean and spinach flavour. So that's a lovely one to use, and give that one growing very fast. It loves a bit of water, and that's one you can harvest all year round, and it will die back. So you can just rip it all out, harvest the leaves if you want, and you can continually harvest it too. Process it, go through that process of blanching it, and you can just freeze it. You can utilize it at later dates and use it in cooking. Like if you're going to do a quiche or something like that, or put it through an egg dish, just defrost it or chop it up, and put it into. It's just limitless what you can do. As I said, I'm not a chef. What you think you can use regular spinach for, or you just basic Chinese greens, just go with that or whatever. And then behind there, we've got that beautiful pig face fruit. What we've got to do with that, what you find a lot of nurseries, they'll stock the South African variety, and that one has been cross-pollinating with our native variety. This is our native variety here. This is Capra-Brotus glaucescens. Our Batjala word is Bijal. So I love to teach that, and I've had the permission to share our language. But that one there, now there was a report written that when they cross-pollinate, they produce sterile plants. And this is why we need to not plant those South African variety. So you notice the leaves on this cactus-looking one there, the succulent-looking one. The main stem is like lime green, but on the exotic one, it is more the colour of the burgundy colour of the pig face fruit. And the leaves of the exotic one too are very dark green, as opposed to this colour. So this is how you can differentiate between the two species. And you'll notice when you go to the beach, you'll see them planted side by side. And when they do cross-pollinate, they do produce that, what I said before, the sterile plant. Now, that was in that report. Now, I've found differing information because I'm walking country every single day and I'm harvesting. And even if I'm not harvesting, I might just be picking up rubbish because I want to give back to our land and take away all that filth and contaminants that tourists leave and all that sort of thing, and just treat our country with respect. And our animals now, birds and crustaceans and all the rest of it, they don't deserve to live amongst that filth. So that's why I like to do that. But anyway, as I've been out there, I've noticed that like with that pig face, there are still, with the hybridized versions, they're not actually sterile. They are producing fruit. And I haven't told the authorities or whoever wrote that report this information, but it's an inferior quality of fruit. So like science doesn't always get it right. And like blackfellas know this. Like our information, our knowledges differ from what the scientific world will state or preach as gospel. Now, I've been out there every day and I've found that it does produce an inferior quality fruit. It's not as big, it's slightly different colour and not as sweet. And so what I'm doing now, when I'm out there, I'm going to all them South African variety and I'm cutting off the flowers and getting rid of them so that our pollinators don't have the opportunity to use that one or take that nectar to our variety, our beautiful plant of Bijal, and to produce or potentially wipe out a beautiful native plant that's been here for thousands and thousands of years. So that's the way I like to, in a modern way, just to do my land care, because I can't exactly go in and rip all those plants out, but I can just sneakily just cut those flowers away and dim a little bit there. That yellow one there behind the callistemon there, that is the beautiful Wynnum. Wynnum, just like the suburb in Brisbane. So that's a shared word or common word amongst a lot of coastal mob here down Quandamooka Way and going up to Batjala country. And so it's the Pandanus tectorius. Now, some mob reckon you got to treat this one. You can cook it over the fire because it contains something called calcium oxalate. Now, calcium oxalate, it'll make your lips a bit tingly and a bit itchy, and you know what pineapple sometimes does to you. It can make you a little bit thing and just a bit itchy, like you have a little bit of an allergic reaction. This does the same thing.
So what we might do, Bruce, because we are running out of time.
Oh, I get carried away. Yeah, go on.
So thanks, everyone. And thank you so much, Bruce.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone out there. Yingo and Go. That means thank you in Batjala. And no, I just hope it was informative enough for you all. I know I go off on tangents and just rave on and on and on, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you for taking time out of your day to spend it with us today.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your evening.